one being from like 9 to 6, and then the next one being 6 to 8 or 9. Just being out there, either pitching nights, networking events, meetups, and I think that's one of the biggest improvements we had in Hong Kong for the past few years. It's the number of events that you can join, and the number of meetup groups that you can join. Obviously, not all of them are good. Some of them are actually very small, and some of them actually die out after a few events. But again, you cannot spend your day just writing emails or making phone calls. You need to meet people, exchange IDs, get feedback, and so on.
And I guess that's why the events were very popular, because people would come out and meet other people and see, because it's a very solitary job doing the startup, right? Especially from Kowloon's side, right? So instead of coming out to Langway, oh, have a great. I don't know who's going to talk about this, but I want to throw this up. This is Corey Kidd. He was the first poster child, real poster child, because he had a poster of himself in the airport. And here's a picture of him posing with the poster. So I think it's TDC did this. I can't remember who. Yeah. And it says, "I'm an entrepreneur, a pioneer, a dreamer. Hong Kong makes it easy to be all three." And there's this robot. Yeah, and Erica back there. She was part of the team there. So this is always a funny thing. Unfortunately, Corey's left Hong Kong, but we'll always remember this poster about him. Thanks, Corey. What is this? What is this? We have a guest in the audience right there. Daniel Chang showed up to be part of today's event. But I guess this is kind of the tipping point, right? We made it to Time Out magazine as the new boy band? No, it was something else, right? Digital something or other. John, what was this about?
I think it was a free opportunity to get a good photo.
Yes, exactly. I use this quite a bit. I think this was, we'll talk about this in a little bit, but this is kind of I guess the picture that started a lot of people talking about startups in Hong Kong.
Well, I think
this magazine.
This was kind of, so this was what, around like 2012, like early 2012 probably. And so this is where we were kind of, everybody was either starting their new thing or like, there's a lot of traction.
Finding a critical mass at this point,
yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so Cocoon. I wanted to say Cocoon at the end, but so Theodore, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. You saw John's pitch at Startup Saturday, and were you like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Or this is what I've been waiting for.
On Startup Saturday, 2010, I think that was a very important event. Thanks to you guys. I mean, otherwise we would not be here today.
Your parents had something to do with that too.
Yes, definitely.
I'll take it.
I think just now you had a photo of that day, and I think you got my dad in the photo, so there is proof that he actually attended. I think these 7-minute, or 3-minute or 7-minute pitches, oh, right there,
definitely
on that hand corner. I got cooked out of the photo.
Oh yeah,
I was sitting on his right, so.
I would definitely not let anybody speak for longer than 7 minutes except myself.
And it was really amazing. I mean, after John's pitch, we knew Hong Kong needed a working space. Actually, I studied in the West Coast of Stanford, so I know what the working spaces are. But then to hear it in Hong Kong, that was definitely something new. So we decided, you know what? John and you guys, the team knows what to do. You already have a location, you have 50+ people who are willing to pay, and all you need is like $100,000 Hong Kong to settle the deposit of the rent, if I recall correctly. I was like, wow, that's like the best thing we can do for the Hong Kong startup community. So we decided to support it, and actually from there on we decided, wow, let's expand this to a much larger space, and that's how we got started with Cocoon. And I think to see the community grow from I think back then it was like 3 co-working spaces to 38, I think we collectively solved a major issue. Is that back then a lot of entrepreneurs complained there's not enough space. The office space is very expensive. Now, okay, that's no longer an issue and no longer an excuse. We can now start our businesses anywhere we want. Like literally, you can pick a district in Hong Kong, and there is going to be a co-working space. And I think this is something, a group effort that we put together, and it really made a difference.
I think Theodore is very modest about this, so I'm going to say something about it. This space is his family space over in Tin Hau. If you haven't been there, just you can see it from this window, actually. He could divide it into pieces and make a ton of cash renting it out to other companies. But he decided to keep it open and charge a very minimal amount for startups to get started in this space, as well as hosting pitch events, having his deep-pocketed friends of family come out and actually put money where their mouth is. So I really think that the evolution of what we're building here is quite amazing, from that 1,000 square foot mess you saw to like what Theodore and his family built in Cocoon, to like all the co-workers here. But I think Cocoon has a lot to say thank you to. And this weekend they're hosting the Startup Weekend. So if you're interested in doing a startup, there's a big event happening there if you haven't been there. Okay, I think that's okay. We're gonna round this panel up. But you know, StartupsHK.com, we built this up. We put all the stories on there. So if anybody launched, anybody raised money, we put it on the site. So please take a look at this if you have time. And just tracks Hong Kong. We don't care about anything else, just what's happening in Hong Kong. We also started Startbase with Cyberport. And basically this is like a Crunchbase, and then all the data here feeds into Crunchbase. It's a directory of every startup, every entrepreneur, and services for startups. So if you're doing a startup here, take a look at it. We're trying to build a transparency in Hong Kong so that people from overseas can see what's happening here very easily. So it also shows who's been funded recently, what news is happening, and new things that are going on in the city. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. I want to thank my panel, and thank you all, because I haven't seen a lot of you in a long time, except on Facebook, so that's like every day, but whatever. Please give them a big round of applause. And also, we're ready for Dave now, I believe.
Hello, Hong Kong. Happy 5th anniversary for Startups Hong Kong. I know you guys are getting ready to have a big conference and celebrating your 5th anniversary. Big props to Casey, Jean, John, and everybody else over there that's been helping put the Startup Hong Kong scene together. I guess I just want to say a few words. And I visited Hong Kong for the first time in 2009. I did a talk over at Cyberport to a couple hundred folks over there, and kind of challenged Hong Kong to really get its act together and put together a really vibrant startup ecosystem and scene. And I'll be damned if you guys didn't actually do that. Sounds like now there's over 6,000 numbers there, over 30 co-working spaces, a bunch of startups, a couple hundred startups, a few that we've actually invested in as well. So I really want to congratulate everyone on achieving or overachieving on making making Hong Kong a great startup ecosystem. I've had a great time visiting Hong Kong. I hope to be back again next year. And really just want to congratulate you guys on kicking ass and making things happen in Hong Kong. So here's to you guys. More of the same in the future. Don't let your foot off the gas. And I want to see a bunch of new startups when I come over to visit next year. So take care and have a great conference. And 500 strong from 500 startups. I'm out. Bye.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so thanks, guys. Yeah, we're going to have the next panel up here now.
So right now, actually, we're going to go through some of the stories that helped to shape the Hong Kong scene in the past several years. Let's go through some of the headlines. Well, that's where actually, that's that photo on timeout. And yeah, 9Tech, one of our biggest startups out here, and we also featured yesterday at StartupsHK Venture Forum. Yeah, they really are the Hong Kong born and bred founders, from the housing estates, and turning into like one of the world's most famous startup in the online scene. Went through 2 incubators, 500 startup and Y Combinator in the States. So this actually draw a lot of attention. It was like Hong Kong was #1 actually out of the top 4 tech capitals to watch after Silicon Valley and New York. Yeah, actually a lot of people talked about that, and thanks to Rebecca Fannin for covering this. And this article appeared in SCMP, which is a huge page with the who's who in the Hong Kong startup scene. I think you actually know a lot of these people out here. Okay, another contribution from Rebecca was actually Silicon Dragon's event tomorrow. Tipping point for Hong Kong startup booms. Another one on Hong Kong Magazine, which is a really, actually this picture is really interesting because like they had an illustrator draw like a really cool illustration of the scene. And like this magazine actually spelled out like to 20 hottest startups in Hong Kong back in 2013. And of course, like the big acquisition that came a couple months ago, where Google actually acquired Divide. For how much? And the next one, another big round of fundraising by EzeeCube. They raised 9 million in the B round. This was back in August. Now actually they are building their business. They've been very successful in Hong Kong and then followed by Japan, and now they're going for the China market. And of course, Gogovan, all of you know about them, they raised 6.5 million just a couple months ago for the major like APAC expansion. So now, we are actually going to bring up some of the hottest startups that we think is in the year 2014 and to come. So, one of the things that we always, in startup, people always often ask us, like, hey, what area should we look into? Like, what are the industries or what are the focus that we should think about when we do a startup? And the first startup that I'm going to introduce, they are actually building something to help people connect with each other. People often give excuses like, oh, Facebook already does that. But, how do you do it like, in the Hong Kong way? And here's MyFlat. Antony?
So, good morning everyone, I'm Antony from MyFlat.HK. And MyFlat.HK is your trusted neighborhood network. And to make you guys remember us easier, so let me show you a picture here. So actually, this picture was taken in the Silicon Valley in the Google campus. We were there because we competed with 140 teams in the Google I program, the Young Entrepreneurship program. So we won that competition, and we were invited to visit Google campus. And then they also gave us a really cool souvenir, which is a Google Glasses. It's just a Google Glasses. Alright, okay, cool. So I hope you guys remember us easier now. So let me start talking about MyFlat.HK. So before I start, I want to ask you a question. Do you know that actually you are lonely? We found that yeah, you are actually quite lonely. Because what we found is that almost 90% of us only know less than 5 neighbors in the place that we live. And in an average of 150 households in every building that we live in Hong Kong, those tall buildings, right? So that means we only know less than 2% of people in the place that we live. And that's really a little bit of people that we know. So the problem is technology is supposed to connect us with people, right? So how come, why we know only like 2% of people? Where's Facebook? Where's WhatsApp? So actually the fact is we cannot even add our neighbors on Facebook because we don't know their names. And we cannot WhatsApp them because we don't know their telephone numbers, their mobile numbers. And we can email them as well because we don't know their email address. So what we are doing now here is we are trying to do something that Facebook or WhatsApp or even email cannot do. We are trying to connect you with your real neighbors. And another problem that we are trying to solve here is that we see the trust issue on the internet. There are so many fake accounts everywhere on the internet, on these other social networks. And think about apps like Secret or Whisper. People are hiding their identity and they can talk irresponsibly. What we are trying to do here is different. We are trying to take it seriously and we don't want random people go into your private neighborhood network and then mess around. We only want the real neighbors to go into your private neighborhood network. So what we do is we will do a verification process to make sure that the people appearing in your private neighborhood are really people living in the same estate as you do, so that you will have the trusted and a secure platform, a secure network. And so now you can imagine, because of this nature, our user base is actually quite location specific and with a clear segmentation. So it will be a really good platform for local businesses to actually use our platform to promote the services and the products to people in a defined area, and then promote to a very clear segmented market. And so after talking about our product, let's talk about our team. So me and Matthew were the co-founders, and then we were actually colleagues in JP Morgan, but we quit our job and we wanted to do this full time. And actually before I do MyFlat.HK, right before I did this, I actually tried running another project by myself. At the end, it didn't turn out well, but still I learned a great deal from that project, and it's still a very useful experience for me to run MyFlat.HK now. And we also have some other really cool people on the team. So Alex, he actually is the co-founder, and he's the founder and CEO of FoodEasy.com. He's been in the digital marketing industry for 14 years. And Mingo, he was the head of property management on MTR Corporation, and he has over 40 years of experience in property management. And Jeff, he's really active in building community now, but he has been involved in the Hong Kong startups since the dot-com era, actually. And we have also worked with a lot of organizations to build our local presence in the community. We are not just an online platform. We want to be present in the offline world because we are building community, building neighborhood. So for example, we work with this organization, Silver Lining Foundation. They were actually featured on TVB last month on helping the children in China. And we worked with another organization to do some mooncake collection during our Mid-Autumn Festival, and we were covered on the news. And we also work with a lot of other organizations to do offline community events so that we can strengthen our presence in the offline community. So we are connecting online to people offline in the real world. So these are some other examples. And for example, tomorrow we will be the guest speaker in the Good Lab to talk about how MyFlat.HK will be the platform for sharing economy in Hong Kong. And we're also happy that we got some attention from the media. And I'm really honored to be mentioned by Dominic Allen alongside with Divide, you see here on the SCMP. So he said, we see successful homegrown startups such as Cherrypix and Divide, and there's also MyFlat.HK, which aims to strengthen the neighborhood network and link neighbors and business together on digitally. So this is MyFlat.HK, and thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you can try and sign up MyFlat.HK today and then experience this new kind of neighborhood network in Hong Kong. And I also have some stylus pen for you guys. Not Google Glass this time, just stylus pen. I'll put some of those at the back after this. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Antony. Basically, we see problems everywhere in Hong Kong, and I'm really glad to see that MyFlat team take this to challenge themselves to really build a solution to solve this. Because too many times, I see people walking in and out of their homes, not talking to anyone, right? But I think it's a very interesting concept. Okay, next. Obviously, when people talk about Hong Kong nowadays, it's how closely it is located to China, and how we can actually leverage China's manufacturing capability in building startups and using Hong Kong as a marketing engine. So next, we are going to feature a hardware startup, EzeeCube. Ashok. So Ashok actually takes really long. He's been in the food HK scene all the way, so it's really cool guy.
I think the first, thanks guys, startup guys, StartupsHK, Casey, Gene, John. The first time I met these guys was 5 years ago in Starbucks in Times Square, and I was at FoodHK. I was one of the first talent. I was working with Cedric there. There was Daniel and pandaform.com and all of those things. Anyway, so my name is Ashok. I'm the founder of this device called EzeeCube. EzeeCube basically is solving a personal problem that we've been having. It's a modular device. You can stack things on top of it. It does come with an inbuilt memory. And if you run out of the memory, you can stack on top of more. I'll tell you how you run out of the memory. The problem that we had all these photos everywhere in my house, on my wife's phone, on her iPad, on her iPad, my hard drives and everything. So we needed something that can sort out these photos and store it someplace, and that's why we built EzeeCube. So what it does is it basically, I like to walk through, I can't reach that far, so I'll go from here. It syncs content like photos, videos, and everything else from your iPhone, iPad, and all other devices. And then it makes it, it removes all the duplicate content, whatever comes onto the EzeeCube, and makes it available back to all your devices, as well as plays back on your television. So when you dump all that much of data on this device, it runs out of memory. You can stack more memory on top, or you can stack other devices like Blu-ray player to make it, to basically capture all of the stuff that you might have on your own CDs. And once you have it all on this, you can share it with your family privately on their television, directly via EzeeCube to EzeeCube, or using our app called EzeeSync. This is how our EzeeSync app looks like. All of this happens with this parent-friendly technology that we have built. We have stack to extend technology, which is basically, you take another device that we built on top, you can just stack it on top and it works like that. So there is no driver installation, there is no configuration, there is no setup required, it's just seamless. And we have developed our own finding out duplicate content onto this box. This is our own algorithm. That's one of my expertise, image processing and video processing. This is how we started. We started about a year ago. I used to work at Goldman Sachs. I quit Goldman Sachs when we thought about doing something like this. I built my own prototype back in July 2013. This was our first prototype in 2014, February. I learned how to program iOS and Android. We got our app approved after a lot of hassle with Apple because they wanted us to send the device and stuff, and we had only one we couldn't send. But we got our app approved in April. We got our Android app approved in May. We launched our Indiegogo campaign in June, and we were looking to raise $75,000 so we could qualify for the MOQ, the factory requirement for 500 units. We raised twice what we needed, almost $150,000 from Indiegogo back in August. And right now we're like super busy trying to get it manufactured, talking to the factories, and we have our design finalized. This is our final design. This is much different what we had on Indiegogo. It's much slimmer, much cleaner, and much more like an Apple device. If you would know the logo there, if I put Apple logo here, you actually might get confused as the Apple device. We are planning another campaign in March with some of the other features that we want to add, especially what can be stacked on it. There's a big market out there, what we're trying to do. And we want to go into the retail by April 2015. So many people ask me when I present that, is this like Apple TV? Is it like an Android box? Well, actually it's not. If you see Apple TV, I have put this comparison together just to get a sense of what it actually does. So Apple TV, all that Apple TV or Roku does is it streams content from the internet like YouTube or iTunes content. And at my place, I have an Apple TV and I have a Mac Mini so that I can download content from my phones, especially from my iPhone and Android phones and all external cameras that I have. So that's what Mac Mini does. However, if I want to add more memory to it, I can do that. If I want to add, I can probably plug in wire, external USBs and all stuff. I can do that. I also have a home theater PC for me to watch my content that I already have, or my music and movies. So what EzeeCube does is, it actually does stream the content for you. It keeps the content a 2 terabyte inbuilt drive. You can store the content there. It builds a home cloud for you. Once the content is in here, you can access it on any device, anywhere you are. It gives you a family access. What that means is, one EzeeCube can sync content from my phone, my mom's phone, my wife's phone, and my father's phone at the same place, and sort out content, remove the duplicates among all of them. It is expandable. You can, if you run out of 2 terabyte hard